Is it working? Oh, good sound. All right. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, thank you to Fireware for a good discussion of how Fireware works. And now we will continue the second half of the session. We'll begin with a presentation of a digital innovation ecosystem. And then we'll continue with presentations from the Norwegian Computing Center and our guest speaker, Gaia X. So we'll begin with VentureNet. Today we'll talk about developing technologies in a digital innovation ecosystem. And we'll need to... Technical issues have been pretty spectacular. Gordon. Ja, det är bra. Okay. Time. So, VentureNet is a data exchange platform. So what does that mean? That means that we have infrastructure to gather data, harmonize the data, and also exchange data with different end user groups in real time. We're also building a digital marketplace. And this means that we want to provide a place, an online ecosystem where people can exchange data, they can exchange algorithms, they can exchange different digital assets over time. The infrastructure is not in place for this yet. That's why we're here today. These marketplaces are not, you can say they're not mature, or in many cases they don't exist yet. But we have a proposal on how to begin, and it's by connecting public and private sectors, people here today. It's connecting research, academia, and putting together the organizations that are needed to establish this infrastructure. So one of our objectives at the moment is open innovation. We want this ecosystem, this platform, to be available so that organizations can connect with each other and they can start to establish projects with financing to implement the technologies they need for digital trust. We're also very interested in regional economies. It's one of the reasons why we're working very closely with regions outside of the Oslo area, because there's several opportunities there, and this is actually, we'll see in the coming slides, a priority for Europe to look at regions. So we had a pilot project with the county of Innlandet. We'll talk about that as well. But one of the things we're focusing on now is how to connect or interconnect organizations in regions, and how to also across sectors. So a roadmap for a digital marketplace, we propose by beginning with a digital innovation ecosystem. And this is a platform that people online are using right now. And it's as simple as creating a booth and being able to connect and find other people, municipalities, public sector, private companies to work on very concrete initiatives. The next step is building a digital marketplace. And this is why we're collaborating with Smart Innovation Norway and with IFE, because they're establishing a national center for data-driven innovation, including collaboration with Fireware and Gaia X. And the last part is resilient digital value chains. This is something that's being discussed in at least with colleagues that are working at research institutions, and I think also in the private sector. But how can we increase security? And one of the opportunities, as I understand, is that if you're using more common standards, more shared infrastructure, you can actually have better control over who is accessing information when, and is it secure? Is it reliable? So when we talk about the digital ecosystem, this is the future. We're talking about interconnected digital economies. McKinsey is saying that a third of the world's total sales volume by 2030 could be part of this interconnected digital economy. So the world is digitalizing, but one of the challenges is how do you start connecting organizations and data and digital assets. So this is a challenge that we want to work on to make it secure. So going into the pilot project that we completed in Lande, the background for the project is that in Europe, the best performing regions are 9 times more innovative than the least performing regions, and that's a major challenge, according to the head of innovation policy for the European Commission. A digital ecosystem, something online, can resolve some challenges. It can create visibility for local businesses, which can be a challenge in rural areas. On a digital platform, that barrier disappears. Access to specialist expertise. You can do this if you have data on the profiles of your advisors and experts in the ecosystem. You can do matchmaking. You can connect ecosystems across regions and across sectors. And that allows you to access the combined knowledge and capital in the ecosystems. But this can be done digitally in a way that you might compare with major cities and major hubs today. And there's also opportunities for new business models to make things like industry clusters, associations, the networks themselves, to make them more financially sustainable by collaborating with the private sector. We have been looking at opportunities to apply best practices and emerging technologies from European cluster and digital initiatives. There's been analysis done, identified about 3,000 industry clusters. Out of that, there's about 1,000 that are medium performing and high performing. But what's interesting about this is that the businesses in industry clusters provide half of the export industry employment in Europe. And on average, they're 25% more productive. And the ones in the high-performing clusters are 140% more productive than normal businesses. So industry clusters do have value. And if you compare that to innovation ecosystems or digital ecosystems, there's an opportunity there. So one opportunity we're looking at is to just provide a graphical or graphical user interface where you can basically create a hub for an ecosystem, and you have basic tools available to meet, exchange information, establish projects. And to use a concrete example, just a persona, if we were to say Maria is a business owner that needs to increase sales because she's under pressure and she's trying to retain her employees. But she's challenging with visibility because she's not based in a big city and she's a small business. She doesn't have so much trust in what she sees on the internet. She doesn't like using digital platforms because there's dozens of them. There's too many to choose from, and managing data is a headache. So in the case of Maria, she's one example of a business. She needs to increase sales of heart sensor equipment. In a different place, you have a startup with an algorithm to predict the risk of stroke, but he needs equipment from Maria to be able to test the algorithm. In a different place, you have a corporate CTO for a leading healthcare e-health platform, and he's actually looking for these types of algorithms to be able to improve the quality and effectiveness of their services on the e-health platform. And then you have an investor looking for investment opportunities in health tech. So the question is, how do we connect decision makers, and how do you establish credibility among these different players that don't know each other? How do you build trust? We have something already in Norway. We have a pretty well-developed system of incubators and industry clusters that work often with counties and municipalities. So there is an existing structure where there is a level of trust. What's interesting about clusters and business incubators is they understand a lot of these processes to connect the different players and facilitate. How do you establish a project? How do you communicate with an investor? So we have these advisors that could play a vital role in making digital innovation ecosystems efficient. So that's part of it. But you still have to address data management, because businesses don't want to spend a lot of time working with data. So this is where we come in. Part of our platform is a virtual assistant that can build workflows and basically allow small businesses to navigate through questionnaires instead of having to do all of it manually. So that's part of what we work on. And when you can combine data, you can start to reuse the data, and that can be how you match a business with a startup, with a customer, with an investor, based on verified, enriched data. So this is our vision. So essentially, we are looking at lowering barriers to trust in technology through access to trusted advisors in trusted ecosystems, automating data exchange, and ultimately providing more effective B2B matching. Just some background, this will be available later, but just last year, through the collaborations across different ecosystems, we participated in more than 10 research applications, including 3 EU Horizon applications. It's fairly productive for a first pilot project. And then these are examples of digital hubs. You can create one serving municipalities for the regional economy, for example. But you also have industry hubs, knowledge hubs for innovation and research. This is an overview of some hubs that we've proposed to place in Innlandet. Based on the competencies, very strong in technology and cybersecurity, manufacturing, energy, of course, bioeconomy and agri-food is very strong here. And health, several opportunities in the health sector. With that, I'll just close, but this is our plan for continuation. Ecosystem, moving on to a marketplace, and then we want to tap into the European single market and open that for the businesses in Norway. I think the public sector is also looking at how to monetize high-quality data, perhaps even algorithms. So there's opportunities to look at the economy a little bit differently. And that's a little bit on the tech side, but with that,